is Carolyn Stewart with InspirED, and joining me today is Becca Pati. She is the owner of Divine Health in St. Albert, Alberta, Canada, and she is also an international yoga teacher traveling the world, sharing her message. To begin with, if you can just tell me a little bit about yourself and what inspires you.
Well, I got to tell you honestly, Caroline, that is a very loaded question for me. When I think about telling you about myself, like we just sort of talked about, it actually makes me really quite nervous to say the big I am statements. And I think primarily for me, the thing that I have tried the hardest to do in the last few years, and maybe it's not even tried to do, it has been sort of an organic transition for me, is to not put labels on myself. Right? So I guess it's sort of like if I was to say what I am that I know to be true right now is that I'm a human being.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a human being, and truthfully, what inspires me is at this moment, and I think it's becoming an evolution that I can see actually rocking the world right now, is really to tap into love. That would be my primary concept that is resonating with me from the deepest portion of my soul. Right. So I'm a human being who wants to live in love. That is pretty much going to be the parameters that I'll put myself in. And within that, then I teach yoga and I massage, and I believe that I can share my gifts, with the world at this moment, and it might shift and change along the way. Yeah.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. That is a pretty pure and distilled
that's
message.
Just like that's it, man.
Cut to the core.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No bullshit in that little statement,
no,
right? But it's a pretty big statement, I feel, right? So,
yes. Yeah. Thank you. Where do you find your inspiration? So resources, people,
right.
How does that look for you?
I kind of wish I was one of those people that had a guru. And the reason why I say that is because when I've looked at other yogis in the world who maybe I've just had some contact with at yoga festivals and conferences, a lot of them talk about drawing from the person who gave them a lot of inspiration for years and years and years. This yoga person or this individual who was so inspiring, it just blew them away. Yes. I have never really had that, truthfully. So there's a piece of me that I don't feel it's lacking, but I never understood having that one individual that I look at and just go, wow, you're amazing, and try and emulate in my life. So as I started the process of teaching yoga, I realized that a lot of what I was going to get inspired by was who I was teaching, who I was around, and that includes people who I've massaged for the last 14 years. It also includes my students who come in on a regular basis to the studio, and I would say more recently in the last few years, for sure, the people that I'm meeting around the world. I watch people and how they interact with each other and what that looks like, and sometimes it's really negative, truthfully, and a lot of times, though, I'm just sitting there going, wow, two strangers that never knew each other are sitting in my yoga class, and all of a sudden they start chatting and talking and hugging, and there's all of a sudden, oh, somebody that I know, and I realize so much that connection is so strong. So the inspiration from my teaching and just from the way that I'm living my life in love is really coming from other people. I feel very supported and very loved within that framework. So just looking out in the world around me makes me go, wow, and then that turns into writing and teaching and sharing. All that good stuff.
And just keeps that love flowing.
It does. It's literally like I give back and I feel like it comes towards me, and so then I give and I receive, and I don't even want to say it's a give and take. It's a give and receive, which I think is very different. Yeah. So
well, and people talk more these days about be your own guru.
Yes.
Even though you are saying that there's a desire for a guru or that
I think
person.
A lot of people do have a desire for gurus, and I don't think it's bad or good. I sort of don't like to use those words per se. For me, it never resonated because one never presented themselves. But I think that for myself, I was able, through meditation, through a desire to connect with me and to know my truth, that all of a sudden I was able to say, okay, what's really resonating? What is down here inside of me that I can now share with the world. And once I did that, it was like the teacher just kept showing up for me.
Right.
And once again, through my eyes, I'm able to look around and then gather the information and express what needs to be said.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's good. Yeah. So people. I
People.
love people.
People
What can I
in
say?
love.
I love people.
Yeah. Good.
This hair is driving me a little insane.
Yours
so.
is?
Yeah, I actually just washed it for literally the first time in quite a few days, so it's pretty wild.
It's not doing its thing yet?
It's not doing its thing yet. No, it needs a little bit more grease. But
yeah, I know this. I actually just washed mine too right before this, but mine gets greasy a lot faster than yours probably does. Okay, so what do you do for self-care?
Well, it's a balance for sure. I would say that I do, I'm blessed enough to have a wellness center where I've got some amazing massage therapists that I can trade with, and I have to say I don't do it enough. Really, I'm the one that's like, you should get a massage, and then I don't book one myself. So that's always in flux for me for sure. Definitely a physical yoga practice is important for my body to stay limber and healthy and whole, but the biggest thing for me is practicing consciousness and mindfulness on a regular basis. It's not just seated meditation where I'm really focusing on energy work and mantra and affirmations. It becomes more so about how am I interacting with the world around me? What is my inner dialogue? What's going on? And am I finding that I'm speaking to myself harshly, or am I speaking in the love that I'm promoting? Am I turning that back on myself? So I would say that's the kind of self-care that really is important for me, because my mind is really, can be really fucking crazy. So it can get like, and it becomes a challenge for the balance, right? So more is definitely needed, but we do our best because we are just human beings, right?
Exactly.
So,
well, and what you said was perfect. You came right back to your core message, which is love. And I know for me, when I'm working with a mentor right now, and that's her question. Every time I'm like, should I do this? She's like, is it loving to you?
Ah, nice.
Is it loving, or is this out of fear? And that's the only question I ask myself now. Do I feel like going to get a coffee? Well, is it loving? Yes. Okay, go do it. And
that's a great question. Yeah, that's a beautiful question.
Yeah. What are you currently learning?
What am I not currently learning? Universe, you can stop it now. That was my evil voice. I apologize. But it's, I think currently it seems to be the message that things are not always going to be the way that I would like them to go. So there's definitely a little bit of a control freak. And I'll use control freak very kindly, I suppose. But it's that I do like to guide my life in a way that seems, it should go this way now. And, okay, I'm going to go this way. And it's very clear that there are plans for me that I am very unaware of. So a lot of caca has happened in the last, a lot of my life. And to put it nicely. And so I find myself thinking, why, and not so much why me. I don't really go there, but I go to a place that's just like enough. Like I've had enough, the ebbs and flows. I'm tired of them. I kind of would like to be a little bit more midline, but then I realize that that's not my personality to be midline, and I'd probably shift it and control it so that I end up with, with a bit of drama here and there. So I think just really allowing myself to ebb and flow organically, like to let go when I need to, and when I feel that I'm being guided to step up and actually make decisions and plan and maneuver more sort of business-like in my existence, is to do that. And so that includes letting go and releasing control in love, in life, in business, and with friendships, just really allowing myself to be guided as opposed to have the expectations of, it has to be like this and it has to be like that, because it's just not like that in my life. It's just not going to do that.
So is this a trust thing or what?
That's, I think, but it probably trust and control, very similar for me in terms of the more, and it comes back to what you said earlier, which was instead of love-based, it can be fear-based. And I think when we fear the unknown, we start to control, right? So as soon as that happens, then I'm moving away from the message that I'm brought here to speak about. And then I can feel it. I get tense, I get anxious, and it doesn't feel organic for me to be moving in my existence. As soon as I flow, whether good or bad, at least I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm in it, right? As opposed to trying to, fix it all. And
you're flowing downstream, things are going.
Absolutely. So whether I hit a log along the way, it's just the way it goes. And eventually I'll like clean that wound up and I'll continue on. And that's fine. That's good. All of the things that have, if you will, caused me harm mentally, emotionally, and physically are the things that now I'm really utilizing in my teaching. Which brings it back to the love, to the self-worth, to all of those things that I'm constantly talking about in my classes. And I guess even talking about, just in, not necessarily in that environment, but just one-on-one with people and friends. It's what I'm here to do.
In everything that you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So what is your favorite quote of the moment, or in general, what really sticks out for you?
There's a lot, but I would have to say that the one that always comes back to me is, hint, the door on the cage is not locked. So that has a variety of meanings, but for me, it's sort of like, hello, we're in a cage. Most of us feel very mundane in our day, or we're doing the same things over and over again. We feel like we can't change, we can't shift. We use those words. And so it sets us up for the feeling that nothing's ever going to be movable, that we're stuck, that we're like literally animals in a cage, roaming back and forth, feeling like we just want to fucking like scream or like somehow claw our way out. And there's the hint, the door isn't locked. Push it open. We each have an opportunity to walk through into greatness. And it's really a matter of, do we dare? Do we want to? Do we have a desire for it? Or more importantly, do we actually believe that we're worthy enough for that? It's all of those things that are a combination. So for me, that always plays over in my mind whenever I do feel like I'm stuck, or that, I keep thinking, you can make a shift. You can make a change. It's a decision. It's a thought process. Sometimes it means making less money. Sometimes it means that I won't get exactly the outcome that I have the control over. But all of a sudden, my value on life goes up. I become more peaceful, more happy. And again, it's kind of the flow. You're not stuck.
You're not stuck.
It's a matter of us walking through it, though. And we only can do that. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like someone can preach that to us, if you will. But it's really up to each person to make those choices. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's really the difference, I find, between can't and won't. I can't do this. That's bullshit. There's no such thing. I won't do this. Yeah. I won't see if the door's unlocked. I won't change. I won't try this new thing. I won't expand out of my comfort zone. Right.
Yeah, for sure. Language is very important to me. Being a writer and speaking the messages that I have, using the I don't want to say the correct or the proper terms, but the most inspiring terms are really where it's at. So when we use the words in our head, I can't, we're really saying I won't. Now, of course, we do all have limitations to some extent. Sometimes it's geographical, sometimes it's monetary, sometimes it's simply we're in a situation. But eventually, as we keep moving through our lives, we can slowly make changes that are just going to make us feel happier and healthier and more whole, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Good message.
Thanks, Grace.
All right, so this is the big one.
The big one.
So what is the one thing that you've recently learned that if you could, you would share with absolutely everybody?
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying to share with everybody.
And I suppose it's difficult to pick out just one thing.
You know what? The word that I share actually quite a bit in a whole bunch of different ways is a word that has been very challenging for me to uncover the essence of even what it means fully and put it into practice, and that is the word vulnerability. So the overall message is love, but underneath that, to me, has a whole bunch of different sort of little offshoots, right? And vulnerability is huge, because what that says is that I'm going to open myself up to love, to self-worth, to speaking my truth, to being exactly who I know to be true, and I might be rejected. And in fact, you might be rejected or I'll speak for myself, I might be rejected over and over and over and over again. And that sometimes for a lot of us, which it has for me in the past, built up my walls. Mm-hmm. Like no one wants to be rejected. No one wants to be told that they're not lovable or your message is stupid or, you know, because people can be very critical as soon as you start opening up or you're being inauthentic and it's like, but I'm not, you know, this is really how I feel about things. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion, which I think is freedom of speech. And it's really important that we're able to speak our truth in kindness and have a dialogue that opens up, because then that's them being vulnerable as well. But vulnerability is something that to me is very, very challenging. I would rather shut down and hide, you know, and be like, no one knows who I am. So I actually did the opposite, which is more love-based than fear-based, which is why all my social media is as it is to allow people into every aspect of Becca Pati. I don't want to hide. I have nothing to hide. Nothing. Like there isn't anything that if someone was like, hey, what about this, that I wouldn't in a private conversation anyway discuss. I think that I want people to know me, because as much as I teach yoga and own a studio and have dialogue one-on-one, without people knowing my real truth in all aspects of life, then they won't really know who I am. Exactly. And I want people to know who I am.
Yes. Well, and we talked about this just a little bit before about the truth connects.
Right.
You know, so when we are vulnerable, that connects us with other people.
Absolutely.
And we also talked about abundance and how when we're vulnerable, that's the allowing.
Yes.
You know, we open ourselves. That allows the abundance, and that allows people to connect with you and to share and support you. I know that's, for me, that was my biggest hang up, is that I just shut down and then nobody could support me because I just wouldn't let them.
Absolutely. So. And what we talked about even further to that is one of the things that allowed me to realize that I needed to be more vulnerable is asking for help. And for me, that's huge. Yes. Like I'm by far not Wonder Woman or Superwoman or whatever you want to say, but it is the attitude of, I got it. I can do this on my own. Yeah. I don't need help. And even if inside I was like, please help me, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'm carrying, all the bags and all the, the bags of life, if you will, and basically doing this to people because I've got a guard up. And I no longer want to do that. I'm an emotional human being. I cry, I'm happy, I'm sad, I get angry. I enjoy all the beautiful things that life has to offer, whether that's traveling worldwide or whatnot. And so those barriers have to come down, and I need to continue to ask for help in whatever way that is, whether that's, simply someone sitting down and having a dialogue of conversation that fills me up because I feel depleted, or whether that is asking for people to help in a variety of different ways with business or love or that type of thing. So it's a very challenging thing to keep going, right? I don't think that you ever really just go, yeah, I'm vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm done.
That's it.
No more.
No, because as soon as you say that, I think you literally just shut down a piece of you, because now there's a larger ego that has come into play with that, right? So there's, with the vulnerability comes humility as well.
Yes. And life doesn't stop. You're going to keep learning new things. You're going to keep having experiences. So you got to keep up with it.
Absolutely, 110%. Yeah, so good.
So that's all that we have. So thank you so much for joining us today. Again, this is Becca Pati of Becca Pati Yoga. So she teaches international and here in St. Albert at Divine Health. Yes. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Bye.